The stars had never seemed so cold to Commander Velthak as he watched his fleet approach the third planet of the Sol system. His scales rippled with satisfaction as the massive Vectar warships cut through space like dark knives. For 3,000 years, the galactic dominion had expanded across the galaxy, and every species they encountered eventually bowed to their superior technology and military might. "Sir, we are receiving primitive radio signals from the planet," reported his communications officer, tail swishing with amusement. "The inhabitants call themselves humans." Velthak's yellow eyes narrowed as he studied the tactical display. The planet showed signs of recent industrialization, nuclear weapons, and basic space travel. Nothing impressive, nothing threatening. Just another backward species that would soon learn their place in the galactic order. On Earth, Captain Hyunwoo Kim stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, humanity's newest and most advanced warship. The vessel was small compared to what was approaching, but it represented the best of human engineering. Through the viewports he could see the alien ships, massive angular vessels that dwarfed anything humanity had ever built. "Sir Admiral, Park is calling an emergency meeting," said Lieutenant Da-eun Choi, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "All ship captains are to report immediately." Hyunwoo nodded and made his way to the conference room. The holographic display showed Admiral So-young Park, her weathered face grim as she addressed the assembled captains from across the solar system. "Ladies and gentlemen, we face something unprecedented," Admiral Park began. "Our deep space sensors have detected a fleet of unknown vessels approaching Earth. They are massive, far beyond our current technology, and they have not responded to any of our communication attempts." Dr. Taemin Lee, Earth's leading xenobiologist, appeared on another screen. His usually calm demeanor was replaced by nervous energy. "Admiral, I've been analyzing the energy signatures from these ships. The technology is centuries ahead of ours. Whatever species built these vessels has been traveling the stars for a very long time." Captain Jin-Ho Nam of the UES Guardian spoke up. "What are our orders, Admiral? Do we try to establish peaceful contact?" "That's exactly what we're going to do," Admiral Park replied. "But all ships are to remain on high alert. We don't know their intentions." Back on the Vectar flagship, Velthak received reports from his scouts. The humans had a small space fleet, perhaps 50 ships total, most of them barely capable of interplanetary travel. It was almost insulting that such primitives would dare to patrol their own system, as if they could offer any resistance. "Open a channel to the human vessels," Velthak commanded. "Let us educate these mammals about their new reality." The first communication between humans and aliens was brief and terrifying. Velthak's image appeared on screens throughout the human fleet. A 7-foot-tall reptilian creature with glowing yellow eyes and razor-sharp teeth. His voice was cold and mechanical through the universal translator. "Primitive species of Sol 3, I am Commander Velthak of the Vectar Empire, servants of the Galactic Dominion. Your system now falls under our jurisdiction. You will cease all military activities and prepare for immediate integration into our empire. Resistance will be met with appropriate force." The communication channel closed before any human could respond. Admiral Park stared at the blank screen, her mind racing. She had hoped for peaceful first contact, perhaps trade or cultural exchange. Instead, humanity faced its first interstellar war. "All ships, battle stations," she ordered. "This is not a drill." Dr. Taemin Lee worked frantically in his laboratory, analyzing every detail of the alien transmission. The technology was indeed far superior to anything human science had achieved. But there was something else. Something in the aliens' tone and body language that suggested arrogance, perhaps overconfidence. Captain Hyunwoo Kim gathered his crew on the bridge of the Defiance. These men and women had trained their entire lives for space combat, though they had never imagined their first battle would be against aliens. The enemy ships were now visible through the viewports, dark, menacing shapes that blotted out the stars. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Choi, "we're detecting movement from the alien fleet. 3 of their ships are breaking formation and heading directly toward us." "They want to make an example of us," Hyunwoo said quietly. "Show the rest of the fleet what happens to humans who don't immediately surrender." The three alien destroyers approached with casual arrogance, their weapons powering up but not yet firing. To Velthak, this was a simple demonstration of power. Disable a few human ships, capture some prisoners, and the rest would quickly submit. It was a tactic that had worked on hundreds of species before. Captain Jinho Nam watched the alien ships approach his position near Mars. The UES Guardian was one of humanity's most powerful vessels, armed with nuclear missiles and particle beam, weapons that represented the peak of human military technology. But compared to the alien ships, it looked like a toy. "Captain, they're targeting our engines," reported his weapons officer. "They want to disable us, not destroy us." Jinho Nam felt something cold settle in his stomach. These aliens thought they could simply swat aside human resistance without effort. They treated humanity like children throwing a tantrum, to be corrected with minimal force. "All weapons, target the lead ship," he ordered. "If they want a demonstration, we'll give them one." "Sir, our weapons might not even penetrate their shields," his tactical officer warned. "Then we'll find out together," Jinho Nam replied. The first shots of the war were fired by human weapons. Nuclear missiles streaked across space toward the alien destroyers, followed by particle beams and kinetic projectiles. The aliens' shields absorbed most of the damage, but not all of it. Small explosions blossomed across the lead destroyer's hull. On the Vectar flagship, Velthak watched in surprise as the human ship continued firing even after its weapons proved largely ineffective. Most species would have ceased hostilities once they realized the futility of their resistance. These humans seemed to be firing everything they had. "Sir, the primitives are actually causing minor damage to our destroyer," reported his tactical officer, voice tinged with disbelief. "Impossible," Velthak hissed. "Their technology is centuries behind ours." But the evidence was clear on his displays. The human ship was using crude but effective tactics, coordinating multiple weapon types to overwhelm specific points on the destroyer's shields. More concerning was the ship's behavior. It was not retreating or attempting to surrender, but instead moving closer to the alien vessels. Captain Jinho Nam watched as his weapons gradually chipped away at the enemy's defenses. The alien shields were powerful but not invincible. More importantly, the aliens seemed confused by human tactics. They had expected quick submission, not determined resistance. "Captain, the aliens are powering up their main weapons," his tactical officer reported. "They're no longer trying to disable us." Jinho Nam smiled grimly. "Good. At least now we know where we stand." The alien destroyer fired its main weapon, a brilliant beam of energy that tore through space toward the Guardian. The human ship's shields lasted less than a second before the beam punched through the hull, causing massive damage. But instead of surrendering, Captain Jinho Nam ordered his ship to ram the alien destroyer. The UES Guardian, mortally wounded, but still functional, accelerated toward the enemy vessel at maximum speed. Velthak watched in shock as the human ship deliberately collided with his destroyer. The impact tore both vessels apart in a brilliant explosion that lit up the space around Mars. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen a species choose mutual destruction over surrender. "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, "we're receiving signals from the other human ships. They're not requesting terms of surrender." "What are they saying?" "They're coordinating their attack patterns, sir. All remaining human vessels are moving to engage our fleet." Velthak stared at the tactical display as dozens of human ships accelerated toward his fleet. These primitives had just watched one of their own vessels destroyed. But instead of cowering in fear, they were preparing to fight. Their weapons were inferior, their ships were smaller, but they showed no sign of backing down. For the first time in his career, Commander Velthak felt something he had never experienced before when facing a primitive species: uncertainty. These humans were not behaving according to any pattern he understood. They seemed to prefer death to submission, and that made them dangerous in ways he was only beginning to comprehend. The battle for Earth's freedom was about to begin, and neither side truly understood what they were facing. The explosion that destroyed both the UES Guardian and the Vectar destroyer sent shockwaves through both fleets. Commander Velthak had expected the loss of one human ship to break their spirit. Instead, he watched as the remaining human vessels moved into attack formations with renewed determination. Lieutenant Da-Yun Choi adjusted her fighter's controls as she led her squadron toward the alien fleet. The small craft were fast and maneuverable, designed for hit-and-run attacks against larger vessels. Her radio crackled with messages from other pilots, their voices steady despite facing impossible odds. "Dragon Squadron, this is Dragon Lead," she transmitted. "Target the enemy sensors and weapon systems. Don't try to take them head-on. We're gnats fighting elephants, but gnats can still bite." The alien ships responded slowly to the fighter attack. Their weapons were designed for capital ship combat, not swatting small, fast-moving targets. Da-Un led her squadron in a weaving attack pattern that her grandfather had used during Earth's ancient wars, tactics the aliens had never encountered. On the Vectar flagship, Velthak watched his sensor readings with growing confusion. The human fighters were using unpredictable flight paths, seemingly random changes in direction that made targeting difficult. More disturbing was their willingness to sacrifice themselves for minimal tactical advantage. "Sir, we've lost weapons. Control on Destroyer 7, reported his tactical officer. "The human fighters are deliberately ramming our sensor arrays." "Ramming?" Velthak's voice carried disbelief. "They're destroying their own ships to cause minor damage to ours?" "Yes, sir, and they're doing it in coordinated strikes. When one fighter damages our shields, another immediately follows up with a ramming attack on the same spot." This was beyond Velthak's understanding. In all his years of conquest, no species had ever willingly sacrificed valuable military assets for such small gains. These humans seemed to view their own lives as ammunition to be expended against his superior forces. Lieutenant Da-Yun Choi's fighter shuddered as alien fire grazed her shields. Her instruments showed critical damage to her engines and life support systems. According to military doctrine, she should retreat to the carrier for repairs. Instead, she targeted the alien cruiser that had damaged her ship. "Dragon Squadron, this is Dragon Lead," she transmitted. "My bird is dying, but I'm taking one of theirs with me. Continue the attack. Make every shot count." She aimed her crippled fighter at the alien ship's bridge section, where her previous attacks had weakened their shields. The aliens fired desperately, trying to destroy her fighter before impact, but Da-Un held her course. The collision tore through the alien bridge, killing the crew and leaving the massive warship drifting helplessly. Captain Hyun-Woo Kim watched Da-Yun's sacrifice from the bridge of the Defiance. Around him, his crew worked with quiet determination, coordinating attacks and managing damage from alien weapons. The enemy ships were more powerful, but they were also predictable. They followed standard battle tactics that humans were learning to counter. "Sir, we're picking up reinforcement signals from the outer system," reported his communications officer. "The mining ships from the asteroid belt are heading this way." "Mining ships?" Hyun-Woo asked. "They're not warships." "No, sir, but they're carrying mining charges and industrial equipment. Captain Lee says they're going to ram the alien fleet." This was typical human thinking. If military weapons weren't enough, use whatever was available. The asteroid miners were civilians, but they were coming to fight anyway. Their ships were slow and heavily armored for working in dangerous conditions, making them perfect for ramming attacks. On Ganymede Station, Major Sung-Ho Park led the defense against alien boarding parties. The Vectar had landed troops to capture the facility and take human prisoners for interrogation. They expected the humans to surrender once their position became hopeless. Instead, Major Park's soldiers fought with a ferocity that stunned the alien troops. When ammunition ran low, they used improvised weapons. When those were exhausted, they fought hand-to-hand. Even wounded humans continued fighting until they could no longer move. The alien boarding party had advanced through most of Ganymede Station when they encountered something that shook their confidence. In the medical bay, they found wounded human soldiers who had been too injured to fight. Instead of surrendering, these humans had rigged explosives throughout the section. "This is madness," hissed the Vectar squad leader as his troops discovered the booby traps. They're willing to kill their own wounded rather than let us capture them. His communication officer nodded grimly. Sir, we're receiving similar reports from all boarding operations. The humans refuse to surrender, even when faced with certain death. Major Seung-ho Park watched from his command bunker as the aliens retreated from several sections of the station. They had superior numbers and better weapons, but they valued their own lives too much to press attacks against suicidal defenders. Human soldiers, wounded or not, kept fighting until their last breath. The aliens began to realize they were facing something unprecedented. Every species they had conquered before fought to win. Humans seemed to fight simply to make their enemies pay the highest possible price for victory. It was a mindset the Vectar could not comprehend. Commander Velthak received reports from across the battle zone. His fleet was winning, but the cost was far higher than expected. Human ships were ramming his vessels. Human fighters were conducting suicide attacks, and human ground forces were fighting to the death rather than surrendering. Sir, we've lost 3 destroyers and 2 cruisers, reported his tactical officer. The humans have lost twice as many ships, but they're not requesting terms of surrender. What are they doing instead? Regrouping for another attack, sir. And we're detecting more human vessels approaching from throughout their system. Civilian ships, cargo haulers, even pleasure craft. All of them are arming themselves and heading toward our fleet. Velthak stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The humans were mobilizing their entire civilization for war. This was not a military conflict by galactic standards. This was something far more primitive and dangerous. Dr. Tae-min Lee worked frantically in his laboratory aboard the research vessel New Hope. While the military fought desperately to buy time, he analyzed captured alien technology and biological samples. What he discovered changed his understanding of the enemy. Admiral Park, he transmitted to the fleet commander, I've made an important discovery about the aliens. Their species evolved as prey animals, not predators. Their entire psychology is based on avoiding danger and minimizing losses. What does that mean for us, Doctor? Admiral Park's voice crackled over the communication link. It means they don't understand us at all, Dr. Lee replied. We evolved as persistence hunters, predators who pursue prey until exhaustion. They evolved to flee from danger and regroup when safe. Our willingness to fight to the death is completely outside their experience. This revelation spread through the human fleet like wildfire. The aliens were not invincible conquerors. They were bullies who had never faced real resistance. Their superior technology made them dangerous, but their psychology made them vulnerable to human tactics. Lieutenant Commander Yu Jin-song coordinated the defense of Luna City as alien forces landed on Earth's moon. Her garrison was outnumbered 10-1, but the aliens advanced cautiously, expecting ambushes and suicide attacks around every corner. This gave the humans time to prepare devastating surprises. They're afraid of us, she told her troops over the communication network. They have better weapons, but they don't want to die. We need to use that against them. The lunar battle became a nightmare for the alien forces. Every building was booby-trapped, every corridor potentially concealed. Explosive devices. Human defenders would fight until overwhelming, then detonate charges that killed aliens and humans alike. The Vectar had never encountered an enemy that treated mutual destruction as a valid military tactic. As the battle raged across the solar system, both sides began to understand what they truly faced. The humans were learning that their enemies, despite superior technology, could be beaten through sheer determination and tactical sacrifice. The aliens were discovering that some species would rather die fighting than live in chains. Commander Velthak received an urgent message from Galactic Command. Other species had been monitoring the conflict with growing alarm. The humans were demonstrating capabilities that challenged the fundamental assumptions of galactic warfare. Commander, you are ordered to cease the demonstration and complete the conquest immediately, the message read. The Galactic Council is concerned about the psychological impact on other subject species if this resistance continues much longer. But Velthak knew the truth that his superiors did not yet understand. This was no longer a simple conquest. The humans had awakened something in themselves, a willingness to fight with the desperation of cornered predators. And predators even. Primitive ones could be far more dangerous than anyone expected. The real war was just beginning. News of the human resistance spread across the galaxy faster than the galactic dominion could contain it. On distant worlds, subject species whispered about the mammals who chose death over surrender. The hive clusters, masters of biological warfare, decided to end this embarrassing situation quickly. Queen Prime Zithara commanded her bioships from the living bridge of her flagship. The hive had conquered dozens of worlds using engineered plagues and parasites. No species could resist biological weapons designed to rewrite their genetic code. The humans would submit or die, preferably both. Dr. Mirayun worked in the hastily constructed underground laboratory beneath Sol. When the first hive bioweapons reached Earth, she led the team analyzing the alien viruses and parasites. What they discovered horrified and amazed them in equal measure. The alien organisms are incredibly sophisticated, she reported to the Emergency Council. They can rewrite DNA on the fly, adapt to immune responses, even modify behavior patterns. But they have one weakness. They're designed for species that evolved in controlled environments. General Wansik Han frowned as he studied the biological data. What do you mean, Doctor? Earth is a death world by galactic standards, Dr. Yoon explained. Our immune systems evolved to fight thousands of different pathogens. The alien bioweapons are encountering bacterial and viral strains they've never seen before. Our own diseases are actually attacking their engineered organisms. The first hive attack came as clouds of engineered spores released into Earth's atmosphere. The aliens expected rapid collapse as human biology was rewritten to serve the hive. Instead, they watched in confusion as human immune systems began adapting to the bioweapons within hours. Sergeant Wu Jin Lim led his Special Forces team through the ruins of Luna City, where hive organisms had transformed the landscape into a living nightmare. Writhing tentacles covered the walls, and the air buzzed with engineered insects designed to deliver paralytic toxins. Sir, the bioscanners show the organism density is increasing, reported Corporal Minho Park. We should retreat and call for orbital bombardment. Negative, Sergeant Lim replied, studying his scanner readings. Dr. Yoon's countermeasures are working. Look at Sector 7. The hive organisms are dying off. The countermeasures were as brutal as they were effective. Dr. Yoon had weaponized Earth's most aggressive bacteria and viruses, engineering them to attack alien biological systems. The result was a biological war that turned the hive's own weapons against them. Queen Prime Zithara received reports that should have been impossible. Her perfectly designed bioweapons were not just failing, they were being systematically destroyed by primitive Earth organisms that the humans had somehow modified. How are these mammals manipulating biological systems so quickly? She demanded of her science drones. Unknown, Queen Prime. Their genetic modification techniques are crude but extremely aggressive. They appear to be using trial and error methods that would kill most test subjects. Trial and error? Zithara's compound eyes glittered with confusion. They're experimenting on themselves? This was exactly what the humans were doing. Dr. Yoon's team tested their bioweapons on human volunteers who understood they might die horribly. No galactic species would accept such risks, but humans had spent millennia fighting deadly diseases. They understood that some battles required sacrifice. The Crystalline Shard Collective entered the conflict with absolute confidence. Their energy-based weapons could disintegrate matter at the molecular level. No biological organism could survive. Their focused light beams and their crystal matrix ships were immune to both kinetic and biological weapons. Admiral Kreshtar commanded the Shard fleet from his living crystal command center. The humans had shown unusual resistance to previous attackers, but the Shard possessed technology that transcended mere matter. Their weapons manipulated energy itself. There could be no defense against such power. Captain Yejin Han studied the approaching Shard vessels from the bridge of the rebuilt UES Defiance. The crystalline ships were beautiful and terrible, their surfaces refracting starlight into deadly rainbows. Early skirmishes had shown that human weapons barely scratched their crystal armor. Captain, we're receiving reports from the research teams, said Lieutenant Dongwoo Kim. Dr. Lee thinks he's found a weakness in their crystal matrix structure. What kind of weakness? Captain Han asked. Resonance frequencies, sir. The crystals that make their ships so strong also make them vulnerable to specific vibration patterns. It's like shattering a wine glass with a high note. The humans began modifying their weapons to generate precise harmonic frequencies. Instead of trying to overpower the alien crystal armor, they would make it tear itself apart. It was typical human thinking. Find the enemy's greatest strength and turn it into a weakness. Sergeant Wu Jin Lim's Special Forces team infiltrated a captured research station where the Shard had set up a forward base. The crystalline creatures moved through their installation with perfect precision, their energy weapons ready to disintegrate any threat. But the humans had learned from previous encounters. They wore modified armor that reflected energy weapons, and they carried sonic weapons designed to shatter crystal structures. The battle became a nightmare of reflected light and harmonic destruction. Sir, their energy beams are bouncing off our armor and hitting their own people, reported Corporal Minho Park as they advanced through the crystal corridors. Good, Sergeant Lim replied, activating his sonic weapon. Let's see how they handle a taste of their own medicine. The sonic burst shattered crystal walls and sent hairline fractures through the Shard warriors. The aliens had never encountered enemies who could turn their own weapons against them so effectively. Their perfect energy technology became a liability when fighting humans who understood physics as well as warfare. Admiral Kreshitar watched his forward base collapse under human assault. The mammals were using captured Shard technology, but they had modified it in ways that no civilized species would attempt. They were combining energy weapons with kinetic systems, creating hybrid weapons that defied galactic engineering principles. Sir, the humans are not following proper technological development patterns, reported his science officer. They're mixing incompatible systems and somehow making them function. How is this possible? Unknown. Their approach seems to be based on experimentation rather than theoretical understanding. They try combinations that should fail catastrophically, but occasionally produce superior results. This was the human advantage that the aliens were only beginning to understand. While galactic species developed technology through careful scientific progress, humans were willing to try dangerous experiments that might kill them. This reckless approach led to breakthroughs that more cautious species would never discover. Dr. Changmin Oh led the reverse engineering teams that analyzed captured alien technology. Working in underground bunkers protected by multiple defense systems, his scientists disassembled enemy weapons and ships with the enthusiasm of children taking apart toys. The alien technology is incredibly advanced, he reported to the military command. But it's also incredibly specialized. Each system is designed for one specific purpose and can't be easily modified. What about our modifications? Asked General Han. That's the beauty of human engineering, Dr. O smiled. We design everything to be repaired, modified, and upgraded. When we capture their technology, we don't just copy it, we improve it. The results were visible across the battlefield. Human ships began carrying hybrid weapon systems that combined the best of human and alien technology. Energy shields powered by fusion reactors, kinetic weapons guided by crystalline targeting systems, bio-armor enhanced with hive regeneration protocols. Captain Yejian Han led the first major counterattack against the combined alien fleets. Her ship, the UES Defiance, had been rebuilt with technology from all three alien species. It was a patchwork vessel that should have fallen apart, but instead it outperformed anything the galaxy had ever seen. All weapons, target the Vectar flagship, she ordered. Let's show them what happens when humans get serious about warfare. 3D, hybrid weapons fired in perfect coordination. Energy beams weakened alien shields. Kinetic projectiles punched through armor, and bioweapons began consuming enemy hull materials. The aliens found themselves facing weapons they had never encountered, built from their own technology but improved by human innovation. Commander Velthak watched his flagship's shields collapse under the impossible human weapons. The mammals had taken 3 different alien technologies and somehow made them work together. It was a feat of engineering that violated every principle of galactic science. Sir, all Allied fleets are reporting similar attacks, his tactical officer reported. The humans are using our own technology against us, but They've made it more powerful somehow. How long until reinforcements arrive? Veltak asked. Unknown, sir. Galactic Command has declared this system a quarantine zone. They're afraid the humans might capture more advanced technology if we send additional fleets. This was the moment when the galactic powers realized they faced something unprecedented. The humans didn't just resist conquest, they learned from every engagement and became stronger. Each defeated alien ship gave them new technology to master and improve. The war was entering a new phase, and the nature of the war changed when humanity stopped defending and started hunting. Colonel Dong-Hyun Kim led the first deep space raiding. Force beyond the solar system, his fleet of hybrid human-alien vessels appearing in star systems that had never seen conflict before. The UES Predator, flagship of the human raiders, materialized from hyperspace near the Vectar supply depot at Kepler 442. The alien station was massive, designed to support entire invasion fleets. It had never been attacked. The very concept was impossible under traditional galactic warfare. Sir, the alien station is requesting identification, reported Lieutenant So-Min Lee from the communications console. They seem confused by our ship design. Tell them we're here for a withdrawal, Colonel Kim replied with grim humor. We're taking everything they have. The human attack was unlike anything in galactic military history. Instead of seeking to control territory or destroy enemy forces, they focused on completely eliminating alien military capabilities, supply depots, command centers, shipyards, all targets that civilized species considered off-limits during warfare. The Vectar defenders responded according to their military doctrine, which emphasized protecting critical installations while minimizing casualties. They had never faced enemies who treated total destruction as an acceptable outcome. Commander Ha-Young Lee's stealth destroyer, the UES Shadow, had been hunting Vectar supply convoys for 3 months. Her ship was built using captured alien stealth technology, but improved with human modifications that made it nearly invisible to enemy sensors. Target acquired, reported her tactical officer. Vectar heavy transport, escorted by 2 destroyers. Cargo appears to be advanced weapons components. Perfect, Commander Lee smiled coldly. Let's make sure those weapons never reach their destination. The attack came without warning. Human ships appeared throughout the convoy formation, their hybrid weapons tearing through alien hulls before the escorts could respond. But the humans didn't stop there. They pursued the fleeing survivors with relentless determination. This was the difference that terrified alien commanders. When galactic species won a battle, they claimed victory and moved to the next objective. When humans won a battle, they hunted down every survivor to ensure no intelligence could be reported back to enemy command. The psychological impact was devastating. Alien crews began refusing dangerous assignments, knowing that human raiders might be lurking in any star system. The concept of safe rear areas disappeared as human hunting packs ranged freely throughout alien space. Dr. Changmin Oh's research teams worked around the clock to reverse engineer captured technology. But instead of simply copying alien designs, they were creating entirely new hybrid systems that combined the best features of multiple technologies. Admiral, we've completed the prototype testing, he reported to Admiral Park. The new drive system combines Vectar hyperspace technology with shard energy manipulation and hive biological components. Is it safe? Admiral Park asked. Probably not, Dr. O admitted. But it's 3 times faster than anything the aliens have, and it's completely undetectable by their sensors. This was typical of human engineering, accepting dangerous unknowns in exchange for superior performance. The new hybrid technology gave human raiders unprecedented speed and stealth capabilities, allowing them to strike deep into alien territory and escape before reinforcements could respond. Lieutenant Commander Yu Jin-song led the intelligence division that had cracked alien communication codes. Her teams intercepted enemy transmissions and fed targeting data to the raiding fleets, but they also did something that shocked alien intelligence services. Sir, we've identified the location of the Vectar Fleet Command, she reported. Admiral, Kethvar is coordinating the entire sector defense from a hidden base in the Arcturus system. Hidden base? Admiral Park raised an eyebrow. Not anymore, Commander Song smiled. We've been tracking their communication patterns for weeks. The location is heavily defended, but we know exactly where to hit them. The raid on the secret Vectar command base demonstrated human tactical evolution. Instead of attempting a direct assault, Colonel Kim's raiders struck the base's supply lines, communication relays, and escape routes first. By the time they attacked the base itself, it was isolated and helpless. Admiral Kethavar watched his command center burn around him. As human marines swept through the corridors, the mammals fought with precision and ruthless efficiency, showing no mercy to alien personnel who had spent centuries believing themselves superior to all other life forms. "Sir, the humans are not taking prisoners," reported his aide, voice shaking with terror. "What do you mean?" "They're killing everyone, sir. Command staff, technicians, even medical personnel. They're not following galactic warfare conventions." Admiral Kethvar realized that the humans were not fighting a war in any sense that galactic civilization understood. They were conducting an extermination campaign, eliminating alien military capabilities with the thoroughness of predators clearing threats from their territory. Captain Mingyu Ro led the assault team that captured the Vectar Admiral. Unlike other galactic species, humans had studied their enemies extensively, learning their psychology and exploiting their weaknesses. "Admiral Kethvar," Captain Ro said in perfect Vectar language, "you are now a prisoner of the United Earth Defense Force. You will provide us with complete intelligence on Vectar military capabilities. I demand treatment according to galactic warfare conventions," the alien admiral hissed. "Those conventions were written by species that fight civilized wars," Captain Ro replied coldly. "We don't." The interrogation of captured alien officers revealed the full extent of galactic military capabilities. Human intelligence services learned about weapons technologies, fleet dispositions, and strategic planning that had been secret for millennia. But more importantly, they learned about alien psychology. General Yunji Shin commanded the human ground forces that had begun occupying captured alien installations. Her troops didn't just defeat enemy soldiers. They hunted down every alien in the area, ensuring complete control of their new territory. "Sir, the hive colony on Proxima 7 has been neutralized," reported Colonel Jaewon Yu. "All biological organisms have been sterilized and we've established a human research base." "Casualties?" General Shin asked. "None, sir. The hive creatures surrendered as soon as our bioweapons began affecting their collective consciousness. They couldn't comprehend fighting to extinction." This was becoming a pattern. Alien species that had conquered hundreds of worlds were surrendering, rather than face total annihilation by human forces. The concept of fighting to the last soldier was completely foreign to their psychology. Commander Junseo Bei coordinated the multi-front offensive that systematically dismantled alien infrastructure throughout the sector. Human fleets struck simultaneously at dozens of targets, each attack carefully planned to maximize psychological impact on remaining alien forces. "Sir, we're receiving surrender requests from 17 alien installations," reported his communications officer. "They're offering to negotiate terms." "Negative," Commander Bei replied. "We don't negotiate with invaders. They surrender unconditionally or they die." The alien response to this ultimatum revealed how completely human tactics had shattered galactic military doctrine. Species that had never known defeat were capitulating rather than face the methodical destruction that humans brought to every engagement. Dr. Sang-Wook Yi analyzed the psychological profiles of captured alien commanders. His research revealed why human tactics were so effective against species that had dominated the galaxy for millennia. "Admiral, the aliens evolved in stable environments with predictable threats," he reported. "Their military thinking is based on calculated risks and acceptable losses. They can't comprehend enemies who treat mutual destruction as a valid strategy. What does that mean for our offensive operations? It means we're fighting opponents who are psychologically incapable of total war. Every engagement proves to them that resistance is futile, because we're willing to pay prices they would never accept." The human offensive expanded throughout alien space with unstoppable momentum. Fleets that had conquered worlds for thousands of years found themselves outmatched by hybrid human-alien vessels, crewed by soldiers who viewed death as preferable to defeat. Captain Bora Kang's destroyer group, intercepted a fleeing shard convoy near the galactic core. The crystalline ships were attempting to reach reinforcements, but human raiders had been tracking their movement for weeks. "Sir, the aliens are requesting safe passage to neutral space," her communications officer reported. "There is no neutral space," Captain Kang replied. "There's human space and target space." The destruction of the shard convoy was broadcast throughout the galaxy by human intelligence services. The message was clear. There was nowhere the aliens could run that human hunters would not follow. The predators had awakened, and they would not stop until every threat was eliminated. In the depths of space, alien admirals who had never known fear began to understand what their ancestors had felt when facing natural predators. The humans were not just another species to be conquered. They were something far more dangerous. TFO. The war reached its turning point when humanity demonstrated the ultimate predator advantage. They learned from every engagement while their enemies remained trapped in ancient patterns. Admiral Junseo Bay coordinated the massive offensive that would decide the fate of galactic civilization. From his flagship, the UES Apex, Admiral Bay watched as human fleets moved into position throughout alien space. Each force had been carefully positioned to strike at the psychological heart of enemy resistance. This was not random destruction. It was systematic elimination of threats. "Admiral, all fleets report ready," Commander Yejin Han announced from the tactical display. "Operation Predator Dawn is cleared for execution." "Begin the hunt," Admiral Bay ordered. Across the galaxy, human forces struck simultaneously at every major alien stronghold. But these were not traditional military attacks. They were demonstrations of absolute dominance that would break enemy morale forever. General Yoon Ji-shin led the assault on the Vectar homeworld, Sectaran Prime. The Q planet had never been attacked in its 3,000-year history. Its orbital defenses were considered impregnable, its surface cities protected by energy shields that could deflect nuclear weapons. "Sir, the planetary defense grid is activating," reported Colonel Taehyun Cho from his command ship. "They're targeting our entire fleet." "Let them," General Shin replied calmly. "They're about to learn the difference between defense and survival." The human fleet didn't attempt to overwhelm the planetary defenses. Instead, they demonstrated something that shattered Vectar confidence completely. They ignored the defenses entirely. Human ships equipped with hybrid technology simply phased through the energy barriers as if they didn't exist. Commander Velthak watched from his command bunker as human vessels materialized inside the planetary defense grid. It was impossible. Nothing could penetrate those barriers. Yet the mammals had somehow rendered his civilization's greatest achievement completely useless. "Sir, how are they doing this?" his tactical officer asked, voice shaking with disbelief. "I don't know," Velthak admitted, watching human ships descend toward the planet's surface. "Our technology says it's impossible, but they're doing it anyway." This was the human advantage that no alien species could match. When faced with impossible obstacles, humans didn't accept limitations. They found ways around them. The Vectar had built their defenses according to galactic physics. Humans had rewritten those physics using captured alien technology. Captain Mingyu-ro's ground forces landed in the heart of the Vectar capital city. The aliens had expected orbital bombardment or siege warfare. Instead, they faced something far more terrifying: human soldiers who hunted with the patience and precision of apex predators. "Remember, we're not conquering territory," Captain Rowe told his troops. "We're eliminating a threat species. Every alien that escapes today might breed more enemies tomorrow." The human soldiers moved through the city with methodical efficiency. They didn't destroy buildings or slaughter civilians indiscriminately. Instead, they systematically captured or killed every military leader, government official, and technical specialist they could find. The Vectar defenders quickly realized that surrender was not an option. The humans had studied their society and identified exactly which individuals needed to be eliminated to prevent future resistance. This was not warfare. It was species-level pest control. Commander Ha Young Lee's stealth forces infiltrated the Shard Collective's crystal matrix cities. The crystalline beings had built their civilization inside massive geometric structures that were supposed to be immune to external attack. "Sir, we're detecting movement throughout the Matrix," reported Lieutenant Woojin Park. "The Shard are trying to communicate with their distant colonies." "Not anymore, they're not," Commander Lee replied, activating the sonic weapons her teams had planted throughout the crystal structure. "Cut all communications. We want them isolated and afraid." The harmonic attack shattered crystal communication nodes throughout the Shard cities. The collective consciousness that had controlled their civilization for millennia suddenly found itself fragmented into billions of individual minds, each facing the terror of isolation for the first time. The psychological impact was devastating. Shard beings who had never experienced individual fear suddenly found themselves alone with their thoughts, unable to share the collective courage that had made them conquerors. Many simply shut down entirely rather than face the horror of independent existence. Lieutenant Commander Yu Jin Song's intelligence teams had spent months infiltrating alien communication networks. Now they activated the programs they had hidden in enemy systems, turning the aliens' own technology against them. "All alien military networks are compromised," she reported to Admiral Bay. "We have complete access to their command structures, supply databases, and personnel records." "Good," Admiral Bay replied. "Make sure every alien commander knows we can find them anywhere in the galaxy." The intelligence warfare was as important as the military campaign. Human hackers had turned alien technology into a surveillance system that made privacy impossible. Every alien leader now lived with the knowledge that human hunters could locate them at any time. Dr. Sang-Wook Yee's psychological warfare teams broadcast messages throughout alien space that played on species-specific fears. The broadcasts were carefully crafted to break enemy morale without requiring military force. "Citizens of the former Galactic Dominion," the broadcast began, "you have seen what happens to species that threaten humanity. Surrender now, and you may be permitted to survive under human protection. Continue to resist and join your leaders in extinction." The messages were accompanied by footage of destroyed alien fleets and captured homeworlds. The implications were clear. Humanity was not interested in ruling the galaxy. They were interested in ensuring no alien species could ever threaten them again. Captain Bora Kang established monitoring stations throughout former alien territory. These installations were not designed for control or administration. They were early warning systems that would detect any attempt to rebuild military capabilities. "Sir, we're receiving reports of alien populations abandoning their colonies," reported Commander Do Hyun Seo. "They're fleeing to the outer rim rather than remain under human surveillance." "Let them run," Captain Kang replied. "As long as they're running, they're not plotting revenge." This was the final demonstration of human predator psychology. Other species might be content to defeat their enemies. Humans ensured their enemies could never become threats again. The galaxy was learning that apex predators didn't just win, they eliminated competition permanently. The hive clusters made one last desperate attempt at biological warfare, releasing engineered plagues designed to target human genetic markers. Specifically, Dr. Mirayun's teams had been preparing for this possibility for months. "Deploy countermeasure protocols," she ordered from her mobile laboratory. "Show them what happens when they try to out-evolve a Deathworld species." The human response was swift and terrible. Instead of simply neutralizing the alien bioweapons, human scientists had prepared retaliatory plagues that targeted alien genetic structures. The result was biological warfare that turned entire hive colonies into sterile wastelands within days. Queen Prime Zuthara watched her civilization collapse as human bioweapons spread through her territory, faster than any natural evolution could adapt. The mammals had taken biological warfare to its logical conclusion, mutual assured destruction, but only the humans had immunity. "How are they immune to their own weapons?" she demanded of her dying science drones. "Unknown, Queen Prime. Their biology appears to be naturally resistant to most engineered organisms. They evolved in a more hostile environment than we calculated." As alien resistance crumbled throughout the galaxy, human fleets began the final phase of their campaign. Admiral Bay coordinated the systematic occupation of every major alien population center, not for conquest but for monitoring. "Sir, we're receiving unconditional surrender offers from the remaining alien factions," reported Commander Han. "They're requesting terms for coexistence." Terms? Admiral Bay considered this carefully. "Very well, transmit our requirements." The human terms were simple but absolute. All alien military technology would be destroyed. All weapons research would cease. All interstellar travel would be monitored and controlled by human authorities. Any violation would result in the complete elimination of the offending species. Governor General Haywan Park was appointed to oversee the former Vectar territories. Her administration was efficient and fair, but utterly inflexible on matters of security. The aliens could rebuild their civilizations, but only under human supervision. "Sir, the alien populations seem to be adapting to human authority," reported Administrator Jinsu Kim. "There's been no organized resistance for 6 months." "Good," Governor General Park replied. "Make sure they understand this is permanent. Humanity doesn't repeat mistakes." In the depths of space, human exploration fleets pushed deeper into uncharted regions, carrying a simple message for any new species they encountered. The galaxy had learned that some predators were too dangerous to challenge, and humanity had claimed its place at the apex of the food chain. The transformation was complete. Humans had evolved from prey to predator, from defenders to hunters, from victims to. 5 years had passed since the last alien fleet surrendered to human forces. The Galactic Council, once the supreme authority over 1,000 species, now met in a modest building on New Geneva Station, under the watchful eyes of human observers. President Kyung-ho Jang stood before the assembled alien representatives, his presence commanding absolute attention. The former conquerors of the galaxy sat in chairs designed for their various physiologies, but all kept their eyes downcast, in the presence of the human leader. "The transition period is now complete," President Jang announced. "All former Dominion territories have been successfully integrated under human administration. This council will now serve as an advisory body to help humans understand alien cultural needs." Former Commander Velthak, now serving as a cultural liaison, raised one, clawed hand hesitantly. "President Jang, what about the Outer Rim territories? Some species there have never encountered humans." "They will," President Jang replied simply. "Our exploration fleets are expanding human presence throughout the galaxy. Any species we encounter will be given the same choice: peaceful coexistence, under human guidance or extinction." This was not a threat. It was simply a statement of fact. The galaxy had learned that humans meant exactly what they said, and they had the capability to enforce their will across thousands of star systems. Admiral Sun Mi-ko oversaw the establishment of human governance throughout the former alien empires. Her administration was remarkably efficient, focused on preventing any future threats to human security, while allowing alien populations to maintain their cultures and traditions. "Ma'am, we're receiving reports from the Kepler sector," reported Captain Hyun-Jun Lee. 3 new species have been contacted by our exploration teams. 2 have requested immediate integration into human space." "And the third?" Admiral Ko asked. "They demanded that humans withdraw from their territory immediately. Captain Song recommended immediate pacification protocols." Admiral Ko nodded. "Approved. Make it swift and complete. We can't allow defiant examples to encourage others." The pacification of hostile species had become routine. Human fleets would arrive, demonstrate overwhelming technological superiority, and offer one chance for peaceful surrender. Species that chose to fight discovered why the galaxy's former conquerors now served human administrators. Dr. Sang-wook Yai led the terraforming projects that transformed former alien worlds to better suit human colonization. But unlike the aliens' previous conquests, human terraforming included provisions for native species that had accepted human authority. "The atmospheric processors are working perfectly," he reported to the colonial administration. "The former hive worlds will be ready for human settlement within 2 years, and we've preserved habitat zones for the cooperative hive subspecies." This was typical of human rule. Alien species that submitted peacefully were protected and even assisted in rebuilding their civilizations. Those that resisted were eliminated so thoroughly that even their homeworlds were recycled for human use. Commander Bora Kang managed the monitoring stations that kept watch over every inhabited system in known space. Her sensors could detect the launch of a single spacecraft from any alien world, ensuring that no species could develop military capabilities without human knowledge. "Ma'am, we're detecting some unusual energy readings from the Vega system," reported Lieutenant Chul Min Han. "It appears the local aquatic collective is attempting to restart their weapons research program." "Response time?" Commander Kang asked. "The nearest human fleet can reach Vega in 6 hours. Dispatch them immediately. Full sterilization protocols. We can't allow any species to think they can secretly rearm." The destruction of the Vega research facility served as a reminder to every alien species in the galaxy. Human authority was absolute, and attempting to circumvent it resulted in complete extinction. The lesson was not lost on other species who might have harbored thoughts of rebellion. Governor General Haywan Park had transformed the former Vectar territories into a model of efficient administration. The reptilian aliens had adapted to human rule with surprising grace, many serving in administrative positions under human oversight. "Governor General, we've received a request from the Arcturus colony," reported her aide, Administrator Min Jung. "Oh. They want to establish a cultural exchange program with Earth." "Approved," Governor General Park replied. "Cultural exchange helps build loyalty. Make sure the exchange students understand they're representing their entire species." The exchange program served multiple purposes. They created bonds between human and alien populations, provided human administrators with detailed knowledge of alien psychology, and demonstrated the benefits of cooperation with human authority. Dr. Chung Min-o's research teams continued to advance human technology by combining the best elements of multiple alien sciences. Human ships now incorporated improvements from dozens of different species, creating vessels that surpassed anything the galaxy had ever seen. "Admiral Ko, the new prototype is ready for testing," he reported from the Advanced Research Facility. "The Infinity Drive combines hyperspace manipulation, crystal matrix energy storage, and biological processing systems. It's 10 times faster than anything currently in service." "Safety rating?" Admiral Ko asked. "Probably lethal to any alien crew, but humans should survive with acceptable casualty rates." This remained the human advantage. While alien species demanded safe, predictable technology, humans were willing to accept dangerous innovations in exchange for superior performance. It was this willingness to take risks that kept human technology advancing, while alien science stagnated under safety regulations. Captain Yoon Seo Lim commanded the exploration vessel UES Pioneer as it pushed into the unexplored regions beyond the former Dominion territories. Her mission was simple: locate new species and evaluate them for integration into human space. "Captain, we're receiving communications from an unknown species," reported her communications officer. "They're demanding to know our intentions in their territory." "Standard response," Captain Lim ordered. "Inform them that this system is now under human protection. They have 24 hours to decide whether they want to join galactic civilization peacefully." The response from the unknown aliens was predictable: outrage, threats, and demands that humans leave immediately. Captain Lim had heard similar responses from dozens of species. The outcome was always the same. 26 hours later, the alien homeworld was a lifeless rock, and the UES Pioneer continued its exploration mission. The galaxy was learning that human patience had limits, and exceeding those limits was fatal. President Jiang addressed the combined human fleets from the bridge of Earth's most advanced warship, the UES Humanity. The vessel was a monument to human achievement, 5 kilometers long, armed with weapons that could sterilize entire star systems, and crewed by the finest soldiers humanity could produce. "Citizens of Earth and colonies throughout human space," he began. 5 years ago, aliens came to our system expecting easy conquest. They found instead that some species are too dangerous to threaten. Today, humanity stands as the undisputed apex species of the galaxy. The broadcast reached every human world, and was monitored by alien populations throughout known space. The message was clear. Humanity had evolved from a planetary species to galactic rulers, and that transformation was permanent. Admiral Junsei Obai, now Supreme Commander of Human Space Forces, coordinated the final phase of galactic pacification. His fleets patrolled the outer rim, seeking any remaining pockets of resistance or unknown species that might pose future threats. "Sir, long-range scouts report contact with a major civilization beyond the galactic core," reported his aide. "Early. Intelligence suggests they may be more advanced than the Dominion species." "Threat assessment?" Admiral Bay asked. "Unknown. But they appear to have weapons technology we haven't encountered before." "Prepare the battle fleets," Admiral Bay ordered. "If they're more advanced, we need to hit them before they can organize resistance." This was the new reality of galactic civilization. Humans had learned that the only way to ensure permanent security was to eliminate threats before they could fully develop. The galaxy had become a place where cooperation with humanity was the only path to survival. In the depths of space, human exploration fleets continued to expand the boundaries of known civilization. Each new star system was evaluated for resources, threats, and potential colonization. Species that welcomed human contact thrived under protection. Those that resisted simply ceased to exist. The transformation was complete and irreversible. Humanity had evolved from prey to predator, from defenders to hunters, from a single species to the apex of galactic evolution. The aliens had feared nothing until they encountered humans, and now they feared everything except the protection that human authority provided. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Some species were too dangerous to challenge, too adaptable to contain, and too determined to defeat. Humanity had claimed its place at the top of the galactic food chain, and no force in the universe would ever be able to change that reality. The age of human dominance would last forever, because humans had learned the most important lesson of all, apex spi,